Good morning. This is White Raptor News Ministries. All praise and glory to the Supreme Spirit of Truth, the Living One, the author of life, the source that moves all things in place, the perpetual, the awe, the almighty, the all you can see and all you cannot see, the visible and invisible. There is none like the point of singularity, the Supreme. Give praise to the Spirit of the Living One. Truly, the Spirit is worthy of it. As we round closer to the political voting this year, as I've always said, we must turn from voting politicians into office. As I sit and I listen to this political shit show that was a year ago during the, well, I don't know what it was, a few moments from 2016. Okay, it was a 2016, so 8 years ago this took place. And the only reason why I'm playing it is because I want you to listen to these two. They sound like cartoon characters, and you can just clearly see that it's just a bunch of garbage. So let's jump in. It's not going to be long. It's just going to be, a minute, because I'll probably get a strike if I try playing anything more than a minute. So
that's a completely ridiculous answer. I want to collect more records from terrorists, but less records from other people. How are you supposed to know, Megan?
You support the amendment.
How are you supposed to?
Support
No,
the
I'll tell you
amendment.
how you.
Get a warrant.
Let me tell you something.
Get a judge to sign a warrant.
Senator.
Wait, Governor Christie, make your point.
Listen, Senator, when you're sitting in a subcommittee just blowing hot air about this, you can say things like that. When you're responsible for protecting the lives of the American people, then what you need to do is to make sure that you use the system the way it's supposed to work.
Here's the problem, Governor. You fundamentally misunderstand the Bill of Rights. Every time you did a case, you got a warrant from a judge. I'm talking about searches without warrants, indiscriminately of all Americans.
When you're responsible for protecting the lives of the American people.
Okay, protecting the lives of the American people. Do you believe that the government is protecting us? Do you believe that they are taxing us to death? Do you believe that these people actually have the best interests of you, the people, in mind? Let me show you something. So this is a meme on one of my cousin's posts on Facebook, and it says, former President Trump says he will sign an executive order banning any federal employee from colluding to limit free speech and fire every federal bureaucrat who has engaged in censorship. Well, we all know that that's a sack of shit. That's a lie if you've ever heard it. So my cousin here, let's give me 1 second here. You see, my mother's maiden name is Whidden. So by blood, I'm truly a Whidden, or a Kelly. I'm not a Carpenter. I was adopted. So I'm either a Whidden or a Kelly. That's why I have multiple names. But he says, I'm waiting for the lefty friends and family to say free speech is bad. They will have reason because Orange Man bad. I laughed about that. And I said plainly, didn't he say that he'd put Hillary in prison, build a wall, and give better tax breaks to the poor? Did he do any of it? No. What makes anybody think that he would stick by his word today? Politics is a shit show. There's a new word for politics. It's called Pollywood. Political actors, because that's what they are. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. He responded by saying, well, let's see. He responded by saying, I don't think he'd say he'd put Hillary in jail, but his people chanted it for sure. And when he did take office, he did the right thing by not going after the opposing party, unlike what they have done to Trump. He did build walls, and the local government and courts did in fact put up a blocking policy while he was doing that. If they didn't block him on every turn, he would not have even done, he would have gotten even more done. His upcoming admin, I believe, is really going to make a big difference. Having RFK join us, something I especially like. I hope he rips apart the federal government. I hope Elon has power to clean house. Now, see, I love my family, but they're all deluded. Okay, mankind can't help any of us. Do you understand that mankind are the beast? Us. We are the beast. Everything that exists is the beast within us. The beast ain't out there. The beast is inside of us. The seed of Satan is in each and every one of us when we're born into this plane of existence, and that's what you're fighting with. You're fighting with the spirit against the flesh, as it tells us in Ephesians 6:12. Okay? So none of this is going to make any difference. And also, if he tried to do any of this, and I guarantee you, 100%, when, not if, but when Donald Trump is voted into office, all right, he will be, none of these things that he's talking about. Now, here's the key thing that he's talking about, that all these laws and stuff, you got to understand that there is a difference between laws and policies. Okay, you've got to understand this. So I replied to him, well, I thank you for your dialogue, but the truth is politics are left-wing, right-wing, controlled by one head, the Vatican. Mankind cannot help us, folks. And I think the exact quote from Trump was right after Hillary said, it's really good that somebody like Donald Trump is not in charge of the law. He replied, because you'd be in jail. I can't find the video where he said he'd put her in jail, but I was pretty sure he did. At least I thought he did. It's nice to be able to speak to somebody about this without them getting all bent out of shape or unfriending me like my brother when he said that Joe Biden was running on all cylinders, which is, my brother has his doctrines degree in finance. So he's like a big wig as CEO, and this is how deluded people are, that my brother can be so intelligent, have spent years and years and years in college, but be so dumbed down that he could say something so stupid as Biden firing on all cylinders. He unfriended me for that. Actually, after he said that, he said that Biden was running on all cylinders. I replied, well, if you're talking about a mini bike, then yeah, he's firing on all cylinders. He unfriended me for that. People just can't talk about politics without getting all bent. My Uncle Mike is the same way. He gets really rude to the point of telling people to shut up and to F off and the whole works. And he does. I mean, boy, if I showed you the dialogue that took place between my Uncle Mike and I, well, I can't, because that dialogue was removed. He removed it because, look, anybody who has to remove a comment is subject. I don't care if they're my family or not, okay? I'm bringing facts. I'm bringing truth. I show you through the scriptures. I give you the hidden dialogue, the hidden meanings, the riddles of the wise. And I told that to my uncle. My uncle says the Bible's not written in a book of riddles. It's written in parables. That's how blind they are. I'm tired of people saying that I call them names and I don't use any kind of names at all. All I'm doing is stating facts, and it just blows me away. I just laugh about it myself. Truth be told, I'm apolitical. I could really care less about politics. I don't vote for a man to write policies. There's the key word right there. Policies, or make laws that enslave us to taxes. There were no taxes when America was first founded. Look what has happened today, 236 years later. It's horrifying, and there is no president, governor, or senator ever going to make this place a better place for us to live. And that's just a fact. So he replied, policies suck. Policies right there suck. They're not the law. That's the problem with America. We keep letting policies pass like they are the law. Folks, this is what I'm telling you, that we have to fight against their policies. Policies are not the law. It was a policy to wear a mask during COVID. It was not the law. Therefore, anybody not wearing a mask, even under the threat of policies and being taken to jail, if they knew the law, like I do, could tell cops to take a hike. And many times during the pandemic, when I was in the grocery stores, I was harassed. But never was I kicked from a store when they said it was our policy. That's when I told them, when it's the law, I will leave your stores. Until then, call the police. I'm not leaving. Nothing ever happened. Why? Because it's not the law. Stop following policies. They weaken the structure of the law. Peace. So, hold on here. This is my Uncle Phil. All right? And my Uncle Phil, he posted this picture of the 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Do you know what the story represents? Now, if you look down here, there's 26 comments in this thread, but clearly you can only see that there's one. Why? Because there was this guy who goaded me into a conversation here by he just gave some normal fucking shit show answer to what it is. Listen. So I asked him, I said, well, do you know the true story behind this? So we went into this long dialogue between the two of us. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. He was dropping scriptures. I was dropping scriptures. He's dropping scriptures. I was dropping scriptures. But the story here between when Jesus feeds the multitudes with 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread is not a miracle that he prayed over the 2 fish and the multitudes were fed. The miracle is that he prayed over the 2 fishermen. The fish represent fishermen. Simon Peter and Matthew had been out, or whoever it was that was with Simon Peter that day. I could be wrong when I say Matthew. But Simon Peter and one of the other apostles were out there on the lake that day, and they'd been fishing all day long. And their nets had come up empty. And then when Jesus came on scene, he said, Jesus is talking to them, and they say to Jesus, we've been fishing all day long, Master, and our nets have come up empty. So Jesus prays over the 2 fishermen, okay? And then he says, cast your nets to this side here. The story's kind of backwards the way that they wrote it inside of the Bible, but you got to understand that the scriptures have been changed. This is why there's contradictions that exist within the scriptures themselves. So Jesus prayed over Simon Peter and the other fisherman that was with him, and then he told them to cast their nets to this side here, and they pulled up plentiful amount of fish, and that's how the multitudes were fed. Okay, now Hollywood has you believing that Jesus just prayed over the 2 fish and the 5 loaves of bread, and then all of a sudden the baskets multiplied and they were full. Okay? Folks, you have to use common sense when you're reading the Bible, okay? Anything outside the physical realm, look, like when David Copperfield made the Statue of Liberty disappear. He never made the Statue of Liberty disappear. It was done with a mirror. It was done with the devices of the television set, because we sat at home and we watched David Copperfield perform this magic trick. This miracle is what you would basically call it. But it wasn't miracle at all. It was sorcery. And this is what I'm trying to warn people about, is sorcery. So anytime that somebody removes comments, that leaves them subject to what the argument is about. No one can argue with me, and this is why they get so pissed off. So even between my Uncle Mike and I, he just unfriended me the other day because I told him that the book is a book of riddles, and he told me, you're confused, it's a book of parables. And I just had to laugh at that. Why? Let me show you. So what I did when my uncle said that I was confused is when I told him that the Bible is a book of riddles, he says, the Bible is a book of parables. I think you're confused. So I came to Proverbs 1:6. Let the wise listen and gain instruction, and discerning acquire wise counsel. Those with discerning acquire with wise counsel. By understanding the proverbs and parables, the sayings and riddles of the wise. So this book here is the riddles of the wise. It takes a wise person, a person of continence with the supreme spirit of the living one to be upon him. Understand, folks, you got to understand that these riddles of the Bible are of dark sayings, all right? It comes from darkness. Now, you could say, well, you're calling yourself a dark person. Well, I've told you already, we're all the seed of Satan. When you're born into this plane of existence, you are born into death. That's what we all have to look forward to. Anybody recognize who that is? Huh? In all of his glory. And there he is in his glory days. Glory days. Don't pass me by, glory days. Gonna make the young girls cry, glory days. Glory days. Glory days. Oh, dear God, it's just funny to me today, knowing that we're born into a flesh suit that's going to rot away like a frickin' sack of potatoes. There you go, hunched over. If he lives another 5 or 10 years, he's going to be completely bent in half. No one can deliver out of the Lord's hands, folks. So when I make my points about things, I always make my points about the riddles. Looks like my uncle has commented, or my cousin has commented in regards to that last post that I made, because I just made that last night. Maybe we'll get to that later. I will incline my ears to a proverb. I will express my riddle with the harp. Let's see. Any others I could share with you? Let's see. Oh, devil. Open that one up twice. Oh, I opened it up, 3 times. How did that happen? So Proverbs here. I will incline my ear to a proverb. I will express my riddle with a harp. Psalms 78:2 says, I will open my mouth in parables. I will utter things hidden from the beginning. So what is something that is hidden? What is a mystery? There's another one too that says a mystery. A parable, by the way, folks, is a moral story to be told. It's a fable or a tale. Okay? And there's also a couple of them that speak about mysteries. I can't pull those up off the top of my head. But a mystery is a puzzle or a secret. And if you look at the strong matches, a mystery is a riddle. And there's lots of parables that talk about the mystery. Talks about the hidden sayings. That they're dark sayings. What's written in the Bible are dark sayings. Shall I give you an example? Ezekiel chapter 31 verse 3 Bible Hub. And while I'm pulling this parable up, I'll throw a shout out from my brother Ezekiel as well. I've got a lot of guidance from him. Actually, a lot of the things that I say, he confirms. You know, he's not on board with Daniel or Samuel or all these prophets. that they were good. Clearly, the Bible is showing you differently. When a God is giving you commandments earlier in Genesis, coming off the Noah's Ark, telling the Israelites that you shall not kill another brother Israelites, and if you do, then by your hands, when you've killed somebody, then by the hands of an Israelite you shall be killed. It just doesn't make sense. So Ezekiel 31:3 tells us, look, the Assyrian is a cedar in Lebanon with beautiful branches. The Assyrian is Satan, and the cedar is the cedar tree, the tree of knowledge of good and evil with beautiful branches. The beautiful branches over here in the King James Bible is fair branches. And fair in this parable means light skin. Definition of fair: let's see, beautiful, attractive, without cheating, fair skin, pursuing his fair in Solitude Street, third person fair, past tense. I'm looking for the one that says light skin. I know it's in here. Size amount. Having a light complexion or blonde hair. A light complexion is separate, is different than a dark complexion. Here's your difference here. Judah mourns and her gates languish, her people wail for the land, and their cries go up to Jerusalem. If we come over here, King James Bible, Judah mourns and the gates thereof languish, they are black onto the ground, and the cries of Jerusalem has gone up. So Judah's tribe is a black tribe. White folk don't like to hear that. It turns them off. Here at Jeremiah chapter 4 verse 28, it tells us, therefore the earth will mourn and the heavens above will grow dark. Looking at the word dark here is an ashy, dark colored, okay, to be dark. Songs of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 5, Bible Hub. I am dark. What does that say right there? Let me grab my little pointy stick. It says black. Dark means black. Fair means light. So when we pop back over here to Ezekiel, where it says, behold, the Assyrian, Satan, was the cedar, a tree of knowledge of good and evil with fair branches, light skin, and with the shadowing shroud. What's the shadowing shroud? The shadowing shroud is our skin suit. It's our meat suit, and of high stature. Why is Satan of high stature? Because you, the people, are the seed of Satan. Do you realize how powerful Satan is? It's like I'll give you an example. I leave the house and I shut the garage, and because I have, thousands of dollars of food and stuff out there in the car, power sprayer, I got tools out there. So when I leave, but I crack the garage about 6 inches to a foot, and I crack it so it gets a breeze through there, so not all that heat is contained in the garage, so it doesn't cost as much for me to run the AC in the home. So I'll leave. Like yesterday, I had to go and pick up some prescriptions for my dad, and I get out of the car, I come in, my dad, as I'm getting ready to close the garage, he comes into the garage and he sees me getting ready. He says, I'll close it. So I'm like, okay. I get back in my car and I leave. And as I'm backing up in the driveway, he's closing the garage. He closes it for about, 6 inches to a foot. And then I go and I pick up his prescriptions, and then when I come home, the garage is completely open. And then when I walk in, he says, "Don't you just love me for leaving the garage door open for you when I have a remote control that'll open the garage?" That's the power of darkness on a person's mind, and my dad doesn't even realize what it is that he's doing. And to me, it pisses me off because I have all my shit out there in that garage where somebody, the neighbors next door, they've all come into, I've watched these kids next door all grow up. They've all got their personalities. I watch them grow up from the age of 8, 9, and 10 and into their 20s now, and they're all getting their personalities, and they work on the cars out there, and they leave the shit laying around in the yard, and you're supposed to correct them. They park their car right up underneath the telephone pole, and then there's this bird right there that shits all over their car, and the car's been shit on for 2 months, and it's just an eyesore for me. So I have to go over there and I have to correct them, as the Bible says. You admonish people when they're doing things. If you're leaving car engine parts all over your yard and they're happening to make it over into my yard, then I have to correct these people. It almost got so bad that I was going to build a fence between us and the neighbor because I got tired of looking at their shit. Now, I love them. They're great people. They've helped my dad out many times. They've taken him to doctor's appointments. When I've left on vacation, they help him out. And they've done a lot of things for my dad. So a lot of times, I'll turn a blind eye. But I just couldn't turn a blind eye to the feces, the bird shit that was on their car. It was just building up and building up. And every time I step out my front door, that's what I'm looking at, is a shit-covered vehicle. So I told the mother, I said, "You got to have this car cleaned or find another place to park it where it's not right in front of my house where I'm the one that's looking at your shit-covered car." This is how you have to admonish people. Now, I didn't say shit-covered car. I was very polite when I told her. I said that it's an eyesore to me. I don't like looking at it. Find another place to park it or clean the poop off the car. That's what I told her. So that's what it means, that he has high stature, that he's capable. The beast is within us, folks, and that beast can come up and use the flesh at any time. It's a hive. If you were in my mind and you understood all this stuff the way I do, it would become very quick and clear to you. And his tops was among the thick boughs, telling you once again that he is the cedar, the thick boughs of the tree, because everything is under his command. The world has been turned over to the hands of the wicked. So with all that said, I'm going to jump into 2 Samuel, because we're finished here with 1 Samuel, and David hears of Saul's death. After the death of Saul, David returned from striking down the Amalekites and stayed in Ziklag 2 days. On the 3rd day, a man arrived from Saul's camp with his clothes torn and dust on his head. When he came to David, he fell to the ground to pay him honor. "Where have you come from?" David asked him. He answered, "I have escaped from the Israelite camp." "What happened?" David asked. "Tell me." "The men fled from the battle," he replied. "Many of them fell and died, and Saul and his son Jonathan are dead." And I'm sure that was a mighty blow to David, because him and Jonathan were so close with one another. Then David said to the young man who brought him the report, "How do you know that Saul and his son Jonathan are dead?" "I happened to be on Mount Gilboa," the young man said, "and there was Saul leaning on his spear with the chariot and their drivers in hot pursuit. When he turned around and saw me, he called out to me, and I said, 'What can I do?' He asked me, 'Who are you?' 'An Amalekite,' I answered. Then he said to me, 'Stand here by me and kill me. I'm in the throes of death, but I'm still alive.' So I stood beside him and killed him, because I knew that after he had fallen, he could not survive. And I took the crown that was on his head and the band on his arm, and have brought them here to my Lord. Then David and all the men with him took hold of their clothes and tore them. They mourned and wept and fastened till evening for Saul and his son Jonathan, and for the army of the Lord, and for the nation of Israel, because they had fallen by the sword. David said to the young man who brought him the report, "Where are you from?" "I am the son of a foreigner, an Amalekite," he answered. David asked him, "Why weren't you afraid to lift your hand to destroy the Lord's anointed?" Then David called one of his men and said, "Go strike him down." So he struck him down, and he died. For David had said to him, "Your blood be on your own head. Your own mouth testified against you when you said, 'I killed the Lord's anointed.'" Now, doesn't that sound like a shit story? Because Saul was the one who, or was it Samuel, who fell on his sword? I think it was Samuel that fell on his sword. But still, Saul was dying. And Saul had asked him to strike down. To me, I thought it would kind of be heroic. You know? If a person strikes herself down, like Samuel, who fell on his sword and killed himself, that's suicide. Do you believe that a commandment is given that thou shalt not kill? That includes yourself, folks. Okay? Suicide is not a way out. However, I will say this, that the Catholic Church is so adamantly against suicide that they will not perform a burial if someone has committed suicide, that they'll be ousted. That person who commits suicide will be ousted, and they will not be able to have any kind of Catholic burial. And then that kind of leaves me skeptic, because the Catholic Church is completely satanic. I mean, seriously, look. Images of Vatican Hall. There you go. Your eyes right there. You can see the scales in the ceiling. You have the fangs right here. Okay, and there's another picture too where they line up all of these chairs to one side when they're doing the rugs and stuff and cleaning the rugs, that it looks like a serpent's tongue, the way they have the things lined up. This here is a picture of Jesus coming from the pit. Here's Jesus's face. But if you look really close here at his face and his hair flowing here, that's a serpent, folks. That's the dragon. All right? They're mocking people. This is why Hollywood is always using Jesus. People say that they're mocking Jesus. They're not mocking Jesus. It's because Jesus is their God. Jesus is the God of the dead. If that doesn't look like a dead, and these are supposed to be dead souls skulls and stuff. Okay, David laments for Saul and Jonathan. David took up his lament concerning Saul and his son Jonathan, and in order that the people of Judah be taught this lament of the bow, it is written in the book of Jasher. A gazelle lies slain on your heights, Israel. How mighty have fallen. Tell it not in Gath. Proclaim it not in the streets of Ashkelon, lest the daughters of the Philistines be glad, lest the daughters of the uncircumcised rejoice. Mountains of Gilboa may have had neither dew nor rain. May no showers fall on your terraced fields, for there the shield of the mighty was despised. The shield of Saul no longer rubbed with oil. From the blood of the slain, from the flesh of the mighty, the bow of Jonathan did not turn back. The sword of Saul did not return unsatisfied. Saul and Jonathan, in life they were loved and admired. In death they were parted. They were not parted. They were swifter than eagles. They were stronger than lions. Daughters of Israel, weep for Saul, who clothed you in scarlet and finery, who adorned your garments with ornaments of gold. How the mighty have fallen in battle. Jonathan lies slain on your heights. I grieve for you, Jonathan, my brother. You are very dear to me. Your love for me was wonderful, more wonderful than that of a woman. Now that, folks, kind of sounds a little bit gay to me. It really, truly does. How the mighty have fallen, the weapons of war have perished. So, I hope you enjoyed the lesson. I hope that you reviewed the entire content of the videos when I share this information with you. All praise and glory to the Supreme Spirit of Truth, the living God. There is two gods. There are many gods. We are the gods. Jesus even told us himself right here. Matthew 10:32 Bible Hub. John 10:32 Bible Hub. Must be 34. Matthew 10:34 Bible Hub. No, hold on. Today I know so many frickin' scriptures in my head, I just can't keep track of the books and the parables any longer. I know the parables, I'm get them confused. My age is starting to show. Jesus replied, is it not written in your law, I have said you are gods? So you are a god. I am a god. Your mother is a god. Your father is a god. Your uncles, your aunts, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, everybody on this plane of existence, Jesus has told us that we are gods. We are the ones of gods knowing good and evil. Good and evil is within each of us. Good and evil is within us. Good and evil isn't out there in the world. It is within you. You are the one that makes up either good or evil. If you're out on the streets and you're kicking in people's doors and you're stealing their drugs and you're shooting people up, then that is a beast that is on you, and you must be the one to kill your beast. No one else can kill your beast. Just you walking a righteous path with the Supreme Creator. So when we are gods, that makes all of us equal. And then what has happened... Let's see, is it this one here I went to? These people here.
Have you heard of this brand new product that instantly
Give me
cleans
1
toilets
second.
without any scrubbing? Take any dirty toilet, pour in
From other people. How are you?
These people here, they know what they are. They know that we are gods. They all know that we are gods, but they have capitalized off you. This is why this is a capitalistic system. They talk about socialism and communism. Communism's good, folks. Oh, what did I just say? Communism is good? Communism. Let's take a look at the word communism. Commune. Community. That's what communism is. It's a community of people. See, the government wants to take away the community. They want to enslave us. The government are those that control the mind, govern, conduct the policy, actions, and affairs of a state, organized, or people. He was incapable of governing the country to govern the people. All right, so that's what the govern means. Definition of mente in Latin. For ment is mente. The word ment has multiple meanings, including it's not what I'm looking for. Because mente is also in Spanish. Mente. That's somebody who, if I'm a mentor, you're a mente. If you pay attention to my lessons, you're a mentee. Mentees, mints, mente. Let's see. I'm gonna have to find that. That's really weird. I can't find it. It's Old French to govern, government. Latin isn't even on here. I don't know why they don't have Latin on here from government to English. But in Latin, I know that I've read that before. Latin, it's governmente. Give me 1 second. Well, this is really odd, man. I've been teaching for a long time that governmente means to govern the mind. And now I can't even find mente. I was pretty sure that mente was mente in Latin. And I have seen it before, but I can't seem to find it. And that's really odd to me. Let's see. I think government is imperium as imperium. But let's see. Governmente is imperium. Nothing changed. So it is proper for me to say government. Governmente means to mind. The mind control, to control the mind, and that's what the government is doing. Anyways, I have a doctor's appointment I got to get to. I hope everybody has a pleasant day. Much love. All praise and glory to the point of singularity, the spirit of truth, the living one. Blessings to all that turn from their transgressions of the laws of the 10 Commandments. Walk with those commandments on your heart. Do not turn from them. All right. Much love. Blessings. This is White Raptor News Ministries.